Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate 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 Vasudevaya.
Narayanam
Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir.
Continuing, Canto 4, the creation of the fourth order. Chapter 27, attacked by Chandavega on the city of King Puranjana, the character of Kalakanya, X12. Yukteshvevam pramattasya
Yukteshvevam pramattasya
Kutumba Shakta Chetasaha
Kutumba Shakta Chetasaha
Sada Savahikalo
Asasada Savahikalo
Yopriya Priya Yoshitam
Yopriya Priya Yoshitam.
Thus King Puranjana been attached to the two fruitive activities, Karma Kandiya, as well as kith and kin, and in been obsessed with polluted consciousness, eventually arrived at that point not very much liked by those who are only attached to material things. Means it's coming to the point of dying, old age. In the purport, about the second sentence, Prabhupada talks about a very nice story. Some of you may have heard of it. There is an instructive story in this connection. Once, when a saintly person was passing on his way, he met a prince, the son of a king, and he blessed him, saying, "My dear prince, may you live forever." The sage next met a saintly person and said to him, "You may either live or die." Eventually the sage met a brahmachari, devotee, and he blessed him, saying, "My dear devotee, you may die immediately." Finally the sage met a hunter and he blessed him, saying, "Neither live nor die." The point is that those who are very sensual and are engaged in sense gratification do not wish to die. Generally a prince has enough money to enjoy his senses. Therefore the great sage said that he should live forever. For as long as he lived, he could enjoy life. But after his death, he would go to hell. So the best of living and dying, he's telling you, as long as he can enjoy, he'll live. Since the brahmachari devotee was leading a life of severe austerities and penances in order to be promoted back to Godhead, the sage said that he should die immediately so that he need not continue to labor hard and could instead go back home, back to Godhead. A saintly person may either live or die, for during his life he is engaged in serving the Lord, and after his death he also serves the Lord. Thus this life and the next are the same for a saintly devotee, for in both he serves the Lord. Since the hunter lives a very ghastly life due to killing animals, and since he will go to hell when he dies, he is advised to neither live nor die. Because of their activities they are doing. So here we see Puranjana is coming to old age, which means he is about to die. Okay? But in this modern society you find old age is not an impediment. They think it's not an impediment. So they come up with all kinds of medical advancement, all those medicine to increase the virility, so they can continue having sex life and so on. And so Prabhupada says they even do research, the scientists, to find if they can make man immortal. Okay? But we know that's not possible. That's the fools. Only fools think that. And then he says Hiranyakashipu also did the same thing, but he was killed within a second.
I think people were living earlier age, people were living long time.
Exactly. But they think now they are living long.
No,
they are thinking during the 1900s people were living 30-40 years. Now they're living 60, 70 years.
Maybe here.
No,
But
as
in India,
as you
we
also said, it's going up and down, but actually eventually it's the
Yes.
life will be decreasing. But there will be some ups and downs.
Yes, yes. Yeah, that's true. Text 13. Chandavega iti kyato
Chandavega
Gandharvadipatir Nirpa
Gandharvadipatirnirva
Nirvastasya Balina
Gandharvastasya Balina
Shasti Uttara Shatatrayam
Shasti Uttara Shatatrayam.
O king, in Gandharva Loka there's a king named Chandavega. Under him there are 360 very powerful Gandharva soldiers. The 360 days. So in the purport, in the first line, Prabhupada says time is figuratively described here as Chandavega, because it's moving. No? Since time and tide wait for no man, time is herein called Chandavega, which means very swiftly passing away. Vega means a force, so like that. The time will pass very swiftly, and everyone, life is just going away. So that's the whole idea behind this. And in the purport also, Prabhupada discusses how life is so short, we shouldn't waste our lives like that. Text 14. Gandharvyasta drishir asya
Gandharvasya
Vaitunyascha sitasitaha Parivritya vilumpanti
Parivritya vilumpanti
Sarvakama vinirmitam
Sarvakama vinirmitam.
Along with Chandavega were as many female Gandharvis as there were soldiers, and all of them repeatedly plundered all the paraphernalia for sense enjoyment. So just as many male soldiers, there were also female. So how we understand is that it is day is the men, night is the female. Okay, so 360 days and 360 nights. So in the Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada says how people don't want to do any more work nowadays. Everybody just wants to enjoy. So they invent machines to do their work. So I remember when we grew up, we used to do washing with my mother and sisters in the ground. Now they all throw in the washing machine. They say, "Oh, I did so much laundry." But in those days, I remember we all used to wash with mother, and it was
Couple of hours work.
yeah, at least 1-2 hours we'll be there, But now they just put inside. They say, "Oh, I did all laundry, so much laundry." What did you do? The machine did it. So Prabhupada says so many machines now. There's grinding machine, this machine, everything. Even rice also can put through the water and walk away. So all kinds of machines. So anyway, Prabhupada writes there are machines for washing dishes, cleansing the floor, shaving, clipping hair. Today everything is done by machine. All these facilities for sense gratification are described in this verse as Sarva Kama Vinirmitam. The time factor, however, is so strong that not only is our span of life being expended, but all the machines and facilities for sense gratification are deteriorating. Therefore, in this verse, the word vilumpanti, plundering, is used. Everything is being plundered from the very beginning of our lives. From the day you are born, you are being plundered by time and everything. So we think, I'm getting stronger. No, from the very day you are born, you are dying. So towards the end of the second paragraph, or the last paragraph, Prabhupada writes, in different types of bodies, the living entity enjoys various senses. And through creating various types of facilities, he chews the tube. The reason why Prabhupada says chews the tube means you keep taking birth to just enjoy the same thing over and over. It's like chewing the gum, chewing gum. It's already gone, but kids keep eating the same thing. What are they looking for? Then Prabhupada says, and I like this, whether we squeeze sugar out of the sugar cane with our teeth or a machine, the result is the same, sugar cane juice. Not that it's something special. We may discover many ways to squeeze the juice out of the sugar cane, but the result is the same. So you can try to enjoy different ways, but it's still always the same. It's just sense gratification. So we cannot kill ourselves. Text 15. Te chanda veganucharaha
Te chanda veganucharaha
Puranjana puram yada
Puranjana puram yada
Mare vire tatra
Artham mare vire tatra
Pratyasida prajagaraha
Pratyasida.
When King Gandharva Raja Chandavega and his followers began to plunder the city of Puranjana, the snake with 5 hoods began to defend the city. So this snake with 5 hoods is the vital legs. Yeah. When the body is inactive, the prana or the life air is active. Okay, even when you are sleeping, the life air is still moving. Up to the age of 50, one can actively work for sense gratification. But after the 50th year, one's energy decreases. So we can have a lot of energy up to 50. After that, it's downhill only. Right?
That was olden times.
Even now also.
Now before 50.
Before 50.
40.
Like 16.
After 40.
40 only.
Yeah, people are getting older faster because they indulge in too much sense gratification. Text 16. Sa saptadi shatayeko satya cha satam samaha Puranjana puradyaksho Gandharva yuyude bali. The 5-hooded serpent, the superintendent and protector of the city of King Puranjana, fought with the Gandharvas for 100 years. He fought alone with all of them, although they numbered 720. So the life air is always in the body, so as long as you live, it's there. But it cannot sustain the body. When the time is gone, the body is dead, it has to leave. Okay? The prana will have to go with the soul to the next body. Text 17. Shiyamane swasambandhe Ekasmin bahudivvidha Chintam param jagamartaha Sarastra pura bandhava Translation. Because he had to fight alone with so many soldiers, all of whom were great warriors, the serpent with 5 hoods became very weak. Seeing that his most intimate friend was weakening, King Puranjana and his friends and citizens living within the city all became very anxious. So it's not easy in our lives. Everything starts deteriorating slowly and slowly. You can only sustain that enjoyment at a certain level. Right? You are not the same as when you were 20 years old. So now it's much difficult. So you will become more prone to disease, illness, like that, as you get old. Prabhupada writes in the middle of the paragraph, when one becomes old, it becomes impossible to enjoy material happiness. Generally people think that religion and piety come at the end of life. And at this time one generally becomes meditative and takes to some so-called yogic process to relax in the name of meditation. How can you relax at that time? You will be so stressed out, right? But a lot of people do all this yoga just not for relaxing. They want to become more sexually active. That's all. So according to the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, to meditate one must refrain himself from all kinds of sense gratification. Right? We have to follow yama, niyama, all those processes. Otherwise, how can we become focused? Mind cannot be peaceful. So when we follow this yoga kind of meditation, they just make you become more addicted to sense enjoyment. That's all. So here he says, such King Puranjana is trying to do some meditation at the end of his life. Well, what is the point? Text 18. Saeva puryam madhu Panchaleshu Swaparshadai
Panchaleshu Swaparshadai
Upanitam Balim Grinam
Upanitam Balim
Strijito na Vidadvayam
Strijito na Vidadvayam.
King Puranjana collected taxes in the city known as Panchala and thus was able to engage in sexual indulgence. Being completely under the control of women, he could not understand that his life was passing away and then he was reaching the point of death. Okay? So nowadays all these kings and politicians, they only collect taxes so that everyone can have some level of sense enjoyment. You know? So basically that's what's happening in Kali Yuga. So much they collect, but they don't use for the service of the people. They're not interested. All they're thinking is, the more I collect, the more I will enjoy, and when I'm about to die, I'll still be happy. But it doesn't work that way. And then there's this theory, right? They think this is the only life. So they believe like that. And Prabhupada mentions, as we all mentioned yesterday, Charvaka. He says that enjoy as much as you can. If you whatever you want, you cook, you use ghee. Back borrow a still. But make sure you have ghee.
Enjoy.
So you can do the yagna and get all the enjoyment. So he has a weird kind of philosophy. Then Prabhupada writes, he also maintained that one should not be afraid of death, the next life, the past life and impious life, because after the body is burnt to ashes, everything is finished. So he doesn't believe in karma. So these are people who are materialists, who don't believe in such philosophical understanding from the scriptures. Okay, text 19. Kalasya duhita kache
Kalasya duhita kachit
Vilokim varamichati
Vilokim varamichati
Paryatantina varhishman
Paryatantina varhishman
Pratyanandata kaschana
Prachanandata kaschana.
My dear King Prachina Barhishad, at this time the daughter of formidable time was seeking her husband throughout the three worlds. Although no one agreed to accept her, she came. Alright. So you don't like old age, but old age will come. So that's basically what it is. So in material life there's 4 suffering Prabhupada talks about, and that is birth, old age, disease and death. You cannot stop this thing. Nobody can stop this. But scientists are trying to, and they're thinking they are successful, but you can't. Because we die from inside our body, everything shuts down. So here, this old age or time is, or formidable time is here Jara is known as daughter of time. Okay? But we cannot stop this, huh? Nobody can stop. Text 20. Darbhagyena loke Vishruta durbhagite sa Yatustara darshayetu Vritada puravevaram. The daughter of time, Jara, was very unfortunate. Consequently, she was known as Durbhaga, ill-fated. However, she was once pleased with the great king, and because the king accepted her, she granted him a great benediction. Unfortunate. Jara means unfortunate. Unfortunate. So the whole idea Srila Prabhupada wants us to understand in this particular discussion is that time is going to come. We cannot stop that. We cannot make plans for other things. Rather, we should make plans to become Krishna conscious. We cannot just wait until the last moment in your life, then let's talk about Krishna. You cannot focus. And so he talks about different pastimes where, particularly about Yayati, how he became old and he couldn't enjoy, and his son had to give his youth to his father like that. So the whole point is we shouldn't wait for old age to become Krishna conscious. This is a very philosophy that a lot of Indians preach very strongly. But when you are very old, you cannot even think about Krishna. In fact, you will be so depressed about many other things. All things, your children, your wife, everything you'll be thinking. So therefore, don't wait. That's the whole point, is not to wait. No matter how much money you may have, you cannot buy Krishna consciousness. Right? You can be a big CEO and have $1 billion, $40, $50 billion, but you cannot be Krishna conscious. But at most you can be philanthropic. Right? You can see that's happening, right? Bill Gates and all. That's all they can do. Next 21. Kadachit atamanasa brahmalokan mahim gatam babre brihavratam mamtu janati kamamohita. When I once came to this earth from Brahmaloka, the highest planetary system, the daughter of time wandering over the universe met me. Knowing me to be an avowed brahmachari, she became lusty and proposed that I accept her. So brahmachari should be very careful, because sometimes women will come and propose, and then if they're bewildered, they'll like smile and say okay. So they have to be careful. Next 22. Mai samrabhya vipula madachapam sudhusaham statum arhasi naikatra madhyachna vimuko mune. Great sage Narada continued, when I refused to accept her request, she became very angry at me and cursed me severely. Because I refused her request, she said that I would not be able to stay in one place for a long time. So but Narada was happy she cursed like that. So he wasn't so much disturbed. In any case, he's not an ordinary person. He is a spiritual transcendentalist. So therefore, it is fortunate that he felt fortunate that she cursed him. Generally, devotees don't take it personally. If people curse, we just take it as our arrangement. Remember, we were reading yesterday. In any case, Narada is not subject to people's curses or anything. It's just for the pleasure of the Lord, he takes it and says, yeah, I will take that curse like that. Next 23. Tato vihata sankalpa Kanyaka yavaneshwaram Mayopadishtam asadya Vavrenamna Vayampatim. After she was thus disappointed by me, with my permission, she approached the king of the Yavanas, whose name was Vaya of fear, and she accepted him as her husband. So Narada Muni, no doubt she cursed him, still he became very generous and brought her to a suitable match. So brought her to Vaya of fear. Alright? So Prabhupada says if you listen to instructions of Narada Muni, the fear can be quickly removed by the grace of that great Vaishnava. We are always afraid of old age, right? It's the same thing. So then we are afraid. But if we take up Krishna consciousness from this transcendentalist, we become fearless. We are not worried of old age and we are preparing to die.
Also
one of the advertisements for 401k, they had this old man, no hair, whatever little was there was all white. He was sitting on a beach and he's saying like, this is retirement.
Yeah.
That is how they are, just sitting next to the beach is the goal of life.
Yeah, actually, they don't understand. When they go to the beach, then they know. Then they feel disappointed.
Lonely and disappointed.
What else they going to do? They're old, they can't run, they can't chase and young girls or whatever, but they have to just lie and watch. Right? It's a false happiness. It's all a phantasmagoria, as Prabhupada writes. Text 24.
They pay so
And
much
also-
money to buy home near the
Beach
lake
front,
or
yeah.
something like that. But after a few days, that
Boring.
taste is gone.
Yeah. Just few days.
Yeah, just few days.
And also with the old age,
Hmm?
the fear also comes
Increases
with the old age.
because they feel
I've seen
lonely.
like many people who are like 80, 90,
Yeah.
so much afraid to stay alone.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
they
Because
are like-
they're afraid to fall down.
Fall
Who's
down
going to
and
take
see
care
who's
of
taking
me?
it. This
Yeah.
fear is so much. When we see this example, like Jara getting married to the
Bhaya.
Yavana
Bhaya.
king Bhaya, so they are two together.
Yes.
When the old age comes, the Bhaya also comes.
Yes. You get it free. Bonus.
Buy one, get one free. Buy one, get one.
Yeah, buy one, get one free.
Get one free. It's 24. Rishabham yavananam tvam
Rishabham yavanamam tvam
Vinevirapchitam patim
Vinevirapchitam patim
Sankalpastvai bhutanam
Sankalpastvai bhutanam
Kritakilana rishyati
Kritakilana rishyati.
Approaching the king of Yavanas, Kala Kanya addressed him as a great hero, saying, "My dear sir, you're the best of the untouchables. I'm in love with you and I want you as my husband. I know that no one is baffled if he makes friends with you." Well, just like that. She wants to marry. Yeah? Prabhupada writes in the purport, in the second paragraph, if a person is Krishna conscious, he can work like a young man, even if he is 75 or 80 years old. This is a very interesting point. Thus, the daughter of Kala, time, cannot overcome a Vaishnava. He gives example. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami engaged in writing Chaitanya Charitamrita when he was very old. Right? He was in his 80s like that, 90s like that. Yet he presented the most wonderful literature about the activities of Lord Chaitanya. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami began their spiritual lives at a very old age. That is after they retired from their occupations and family lives. Yet they presented many valuable literatures for the advancement of spiritual life. So, what does it mean? Means we have to become very spiritual in our activities. Then we don't have to fear
The old age.
old age or time or jara.
Prabhupada also came 70.
Yeah, Prabhupada also, right? He quit his family, then he went. After so many years, he was harassed by so many things. He just plodded on, writing. And then when he came to the US, 80s,
He was
70s,
69.
late
He was
69 when it starts.
yeah,
69
70s
crossed
and 80s,
69.
yeah. Writing only.
There's an article which came. It's
Hmm.
from, I think 10
Who
successful
achieved
people,
great successes
after
at an
the
old
age of
age,
70.
after retirement age.
Srila Prabhupada's name
He
was
is like second.
He was second or
second
third
or
he was
third.
in the list.
So, whether they are the acharyas like the Goswamis or Srila Prabhupada, did they have the knowledge of Sanskrit and the ability to translate prior, or is that a part of the preparation in order to
They
do-
studied, no?
They
They
studied.
went to school, they took a proper and studied all of that. Of course, you can say Krishna can just send him immediately and he can descend and do all that. It's possible, but the whole idea is to Prabhupada's whole life is to show us that we can go through this particular life to go back to Godhead. He shows the example. Nothing exceptional in from another point of view, but actually when you look at it, it's very exceptional what he did. But from a mundane point of view, it's just an old man who kept and prodding on and on in the same way. So what Prabhupada is showing us is we just have to keep at this process, and you will get the result. Yeah, of course, he doesn't need to do all that, but still, for our sake, he went through the difficulties. Because for us, it's so difficult, right? But then, whenever you think of Prabhupada and say he went more than I did, then you say, yeah, let me do it. So in the last paragraph, Prabhupada says, Jara, the effect of old age, does not harass a devotee. Okay. And then towards the end, he says, consequently, old age does not make a devotee fearful of death. Devotees will not fear death. As a common man is fearful of death. All you have to do is go to the hospitals, right? And then you see how these people are reacting. You can see death in their face, and they're very afraid.
Yeah, one Western devotee used to come to our temple. She was a nurse in one of the downtown hospitals. I asked her, why did you think about coming to our temple? She said, I'm seeing people die every day, and I want an answer to that. That was the answer, basically.
Yeah.
She's seeing death every day. It's like people are dying. Lori, in case you probably saw her.
Yeah. So common people are very frightened. When old age or jara takes shelter of a devotee, and devotee becomes old, Kalakanya diminishes the devotee's fear. Right? So he doesn't feel afraid anymore. He knows what's going to happen. The devotee knows that after death he is going back home, back to Godhead. So we must be all be ready to think like that. I'm going back to Godhead. So therefore we have to do whatever we can now. Thus instead of depressing a devotee, advanced age helps him become fearless and thus happy. Prabhupada is saying about himself also.
Abhaya.
Yeah, Abhaya. His name is Abhaya also. Because he's taking shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna. Next 25. Dvavimau anusochanti Balavasad avagraho Yaloka sastropanatam Narati natat ichati. One who does not give charity according to the customs or injunctions of the scriptures, and one who does not accept charity in that way are considered to be in the mode of ignorance. Such persons follow the path of the foolish. Surely they must lament at the end. Basically, there are so many principles, good and bad, Vedic principles. If you don't follow, then you're going to have some reactions. And some of this, if you do pious activity, you'll get pious credits. If you're doing pious, you have to suffer like that. So, in any case, we have to follow some rules and regulations. We cannot just not follow any scriptural injunctions like that. Mostly people don't want to follow any scriptures because it is too
Difficult.
restrictive. Yeah, for sense enjoyment. Therefore, they don't want that. So, therefore, Prabhupada says you have to follow scriptures if you want to have a decent life. Which is one of the reasons why Vyasadeva wrote the Vedas. But of course, Narada Muni pointed out to him, this is a problem. What you have done is you have made everyone think it's okay to just enjoy and then go and they'll be okay, but that's not the reality. And then he rewrote the Bhagavatam. Yeah. In the last paragraph, Prabhupada writes it towards the end. One should follow the principles of saintly persons, scriptures, and the spiritual master. In this way, one is sure to attain success in life. Kalakanya, the daughter of time, presented herself before the king of Yavanas precisely in terms of sadhu, shastra, and guru. Thus, there was no reason for not accepting her. So she also knew the scripture. So she told the king, now, I'm available and you are very good, you should marry me. That's a Kshatriya principle. Next 26. Ato bhajasva mam badra bhajanti me dayam kuru tavan purusho dharmo yadarthan anukampate. Kalakanya continued, O gentle one, I am now present before you to serve you. Please accept me and thus show me mercy. It is a gentleman's greatest duty to be compassionate upon a person who is distressed. right? So she doesn't want her to reject her. She's presenting her point. Here, Prabhupada says, in other words, the injunctions of Narada Muni are the part of devotional service can be accepted by anyone within the three worlds and certainly by the king of Yavanas. And of course, for us, we should try and preach to everyone we meet. Taradeta, Tareka, Krishna. So that's precisely what Srila Prabhupada wants us to do. And we will benefit when we do that, much more than not doing anything and sitting on our backs, like that. Text 27. Kalakanyo ditavacho
Kalakanyo ditavacho
Nishamya yavaneshvaraha
Nishamya yavaneshvaraha
Chikishu deva guhyamsa
Chikishu deva guhyamsa
Sasmitam dam abhasata
Sasmitam tam abhasata.
After hearing the statement of Kalakanya, daughter of time, the king of Yavanas began to smile and devise a means for executing his confidential duty on behalf of Providence. He then addressed Kalakanya as follows. So he has another plan. Now Prabhupada writes in the purport, actually the supreme controller is the personality of God, Krishna, and everyone is his servant. Yavana Raja, the king of Yavanas, was also a servant of Krishna. Consequently, he wanted to execute the purpose of Krishna through the agency of Kalakanya. Although Kalakanya means invalidity or old age, Yavana Raja wanted to serve Krishna by introducing Kalakanya everywhere. It appears that people are young and so on, so he wanted to use her for that purpose. Generally, when it seems like people think young age means you have to enjoy, right? Correct or not? Right? That's the philosophy. Old age, they think you should sit in a corner and don't disturb anybody. Or they'll say then you should go chant and become more spiritual. But actually that is the wrong impression. Right? What does Prahlad Maharaj says?
5 years from the age of 5 years.
Acharya, from 5 years one should start this process. So at least you remember at the end what to do. Why is that very important?
Because old habits die hard. Like if you're
Yeah,
not practicing
exactly.
throughout the life, it is very hard to
Yes.
Remember at the time.
Yes, old habits die hard. Oh, you're so conditioned. So condition means your mind is the most dangerous thing in your life. Try to understand this. Try to train now. There's plenty of hope. Because this mind will cheat you. At the last moment, you're just like a drowning man will say, help me, you hold, and then you, let you go. So the mind will let you go when you most need it. So immediately you'll go to some nonsense. So conditioned life is like that. So we have to become trained in Krishna consciousness.
Uddare tatmanatmanam.
Hmm?
Krishna says Uddare tatmanatmanam. One should actually help oneself through the medium of mind.
Yes. So please, it's not like we are trying to only know this information. No, the whole idea is how you're going to apply it. What are the things you're going to do to apply it? Otherwise, we are all going to be fearful. Oh, I'm going to die. Oh, if let's say tomorrow we find out we're going to die, what are you going to do? You can't sit around moping and crying. You should say, okay, so be it. This I've done my life now, so this is my time to go. So like that, we have to start thinking. Instead of thinking, oh, we can plan and we can meet and we can get over this hurdle and move on with life. It doesn't work like that. And you will find in this, the material universe is set up like that. You will see, even in your life, you will see or read about people who are very sick, about to die, they become well. Somehow or other they did something and they became better. So that all gives you false hope. And you're thinking, oh yeah, I can get better. Yeah, you should try. And if you know after trying everything is you cannot get well, then you should just like Parikshit Maharaj. Sit down in the Ganges and then start chanting. And also, that's one thing. Another thing is, again, the atheists and all say this is one life only, so enjoy. That's all nonsense. This is very irresponsible, actually. Alright? So here he is trying to use Kalakanya everywhere to bring everyone old and fearful. Text 28. Maya nirupitastudyam patiratma samadhina nabinnandati lokoyam mamabhadram sammatam. King of the Yavanas replied, after much consideration, I have arrived at a husband for you. Actually, as far as everyone is concerned, you are inauspicious and mischievous. Since no one likes you, how can anyone accept you as his wife? He's giving so much discussion and explaining why it's a bad bargain. So Prabhupada says, after much consideration, the king of Yavanas decided to make the best use of a bad bargain. Kalakanya was a bad bargain and no one liked her. But everything can be used for the service of the Lord. So look at how Prabhupada sees it. Thus the king of Yavanas tried to utilize her for some purpose. The purpose has already been explained. That is, Kalakanya's jara, the invalidity of old age, can be used to arouse a sense of fear in people so that they would prepare for the next life by engaging in Krishna consciousness. But now they are not doing this, right? They have this rascal government. They don't prepare anyone for next life. They give them false hope. We will save you. We are doing the research. Even if you die, it's okay. Your children will save them. So all kinds of nonsense going on. Text 29. Tvam avyakta gatir bhungsva lokam karma vinirmitam yahi me pritana yukta janasham pranishyasi. This world is a product of fruitive activities. Therefore you may imperceptibly attack people in general. Helped by my soldiers, you can kill them without opposition. So he's giving her that blessing or right to do that, Because generally people are just doing sense gratification and enjoying themselves, building all kinds of things, but all just for material things. So therefore they think they can continue living forever like that, right? That's the goal. But when old age comes, they know they cannot enjoy anymore. They start stopping and they're trying to invest, retirement, at that, who will bury me, who will put me in a lot. They'll have to buy the lot, and the lot in some areas are more expensive than another area. Prime locations for burying bodies also. And then after 20-30 years, the government will say, we need that location. They'll dig all out and throw in the ocean, and unless people sue them. It happened in some in Boston or somewhere.
It's happening in every city.
Yeah, they did that, and then
sometimes they'll take over.
They will send to the children and say we are going to move permission and like that. So they can have build nice houses, so they can make money. So basically, that's what they are all doing, and then they are forced to accept another body next life, some kind. So in essence, Prabhupada says, actually in this world there's no happiness. People are simply engaged trying to counteract unhappiness. This is in the last paragraph. Foolish people accept unhappiness as happiness. Right? Because they all go to work. And then they are thinking that is happiness. Oh, I got a very good job, But then you are working so hard every day. How can there be happiness? So therefore, Prabhupada says, foolish people accept unhappiness as happiness. And their happiness is only when they boast to their friend, I'm so and so in this job. I'm a CEO. But actually, they are working like a dog. Therefore, the king of Yavanas decided to attack such foolish people imperceptibly by old age, disease, and ultimately death. Of course, after death there must be birth. Therefore, Yavanaraj thought it was wise to kill all the karmis through the agency of Kalakanya, and thus try to make them aware that materialistic advancement is not actually advancement. Every living entity is a spiritual being, and consequently without spiritual advancement, the human form of life is ruined. So there's a purpose behind also time, Kalakanya and Bhaya, all that. There's a reason why we fear and all those things. So that we will wake up, right? Jeev Jago, wake up sleeping soul. We don't want to get enamored in this material world and think it's happiness. Huh?
You keep hearing that.
Prabhupada says that thousands of times. So, but they say, like, I've had this conversation with many people, they say that if you don't work, there will be more misery. Therefore, you have to work and reduce the misery. Goal of life is to reduce misery.
That's what they tell themselves. But actually, it is like it's like a person who's feeling miserable, so he takes to a bottle and drinks, right?
More misery, actually.
And then he will say, if I get all this high, I don't think of misery. Or if a child does something bad in school, the first thing they come at home is they say hi to mom and they go to the bedroom and sleep. Because they don't want to think about the... so the mother will know something is wrong. So people talk like that. Oh, we work so we can minimize it. Well, how can you say you minimize any misery? You work so hard like a dog, so that is also misery, right? And then you come home and then you feel a relief from coming back from office. So then you feel happy. What happiness is that? We have created all this thing over generations and hundreds of years.
Actually, only in 30-40 years we have created this.
No, it's been going on for thousands of years now.
Oh, okay.
It's just been built up on that idea that once you're economically situated, everything is okay.
Dharma of the cow.
Yeah. So, but it's not true. You cannot escape this misery.
Prahlad Maharaj says that happiness and distress is destined.
Is?
Happiness and distress is determined,
predestined.
Come on their own.
Right? If they are very intelligent, they know. Some people are they say, I work so hard, but I am not getting this. So how can they be happy? Well, let's say you work really hard, you're genuine, you give all your life to Microsoft, and then when it comes for a promotion, you are the ideal candidate, but they look over you and promote some guy. How would you feel? Where's your happiness? But this is how it's going on in this world. Text 30. Prajvarayam mama brata
Prajvaroyam mama bhata
Tvam cha me bhagini bhava
Tvam cha me bhagini bhava
Charami ubhavayam lokesmin
Charami ubhavayam lokesmin
Avyakto bhima sainika.
Avyakto bhima sainika.
The king of the Yavanas continued, here is my brother Prajvara. I now accept you as my sister. I shall employ both of you as well as my dangerous soldiers to act imperceptibly within this world. Now there's also some hidden meaning here when he says I accept you as my sister, and Prabhupada reveals Kalakanya was sent by Narad Muni to Yavana Raja so that she might become his wife. But instead of accepting her as his wife, Yavana Raja accepted her as his sister. Those who do not follow the Vedic principles are unrestricted as far as sex life is concerned. Consequently, they sometimes do not hesitate to have sex with their sisters. In this age of Kali, there are many instances of such incest. Although Yavana Raja accepted the request of Narada Muni to show respect to him, he was nonetheless thinking of illicit sex. This was due to his being the king of Yavanas and Malachas. They have no rules, no distinctions of what is right and wrong. Therefore, he's thinking of, and this is very true. It's going on many scale in so many countries. Incest, people keep quiet, but it's going on actually. It's horrible actually to think of this. So, and then in the next paragraph, Prabhupada writes, one may outwardly be a sister, mother or daughter and still have sex. Yavana Raja's brothers Brachvara and Kalakanya was invalidity itself. Combined and strengthened by the soldiers of Yavana Raja, namely non-hygienic conditions, illicit sex and ultimately a high degree of temperature to bring on death, they would be able to smash the materialistic way of life. So this is how they destroy materialistic life. In this connection, it is significant that Narada was immune to the attack of Jara or invalidity. And similarly, Jara or the destructive force cannot attack any follower of Narada Muni or a pure Vaishnava. So if you are a devotee, then all this has no effect in the traditional sense. Right? If you go to a hospital, you see those people who are dying, they are very much miserable, Too much stress because they cannot give up the body. There's so much attachment, so much enjoyment they want to go continue, but they can't. But this is how Jara activates for us to see. This is it. Time to change your life. Some of us are given head notice, some are not given early notice. But it is like that. Thus end the Bhakti and the purpose of the 4th canto, 27th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Attack by Chandavega on the city of King Puranjana, the character of Kalakanya. Chapter 28. Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life. Text 1. Narada Vacha Sainika Baya Namno Ye Barhishman Dishtakarinaha Swara Kala Kanyabhyam Cherur Avanim Imam. The great sage Narada continued, my dear King Prachina Barhishad. Afterward, the king of Yavanas, whose name is fear itself, as well as Prajvara, Kalakanya, and his soldiers, began to travel all over the world. In the purport, towards at the end, last line, Prabhupada says, the more one enjoys sex during youth, the more he suffers in old age. Okay, so again, its sense gratification must be regulated. If not, you will suffer disease, so many things when you are getting old. So therefore, one has to be very careful.
Because they do lose the energy, that's right?
Yeah, unnecessarily. And then illicit things all will cause reactions also. So you suffer at the old age. Your body's potency to withstand all the disease is gone when you indulge too much in sense gratification. Text 2. Ta ekadatu rabasa Puranjana purim nirpa Gurudur bhauma bhogadyam Jaratpannagaparitam. Once the dangerous soldiers attacked the city of Puranjana with great force. Although the city was full of paraphernalia for sense gratification, it was being protected by the old serpent. Now the serpent is old. The prana, life air, is getting old, the vital force. Okay. If we are not taking up Krishna consciousness, what do? Our whole life we just sit at home only. And so Prabhupada says, if one sits at home and is served by his beloved wife and children, he suddenly becomes weaker and weaker due to sense gratification. When death finally comes, one leaves the body devoid of spiritual assets. in the old Vedic culture, at a certain time, the man must get out and go away into the forest or something like that at the end of life. But these days, they don't want anyone to do that. They don't want people to go and die. They want them to continue enjoying it and contribute to the
State taxes.
tax economy. Yeah.
Actually, I was reading an article. Divorce is good for the economy
Yeah.
because they're saying,
Both of them.
two lawyers have to
Two lawyers
employ,
make money.
and then when they separate, then 2 apartments, so they have to rent 2 apartments
Right.
instead of 1, like that.
So it's
So
all
that's what they're calculating.
it's all calculated.
Yeah.
That's why they don't stop or teach in school not to do all this. And similarly, they want illicit sex at young age so that they can sell all the contraceptives,
And
abortion clinics,
medical care.
abortion clinics, all kinds of baby food, so much, both way they earn, If you have the child, they will earn. If you don't have the child, they still earn, Huh?
Amazing.
Yeah, this is how these people are thinking. Don't think they are your well-wishers.
Like 1/6 is medical,
Yeah.
1/6 is financial services industry, 1/6 is automobiles, like that.
Yeah,
So whatever we touch every day, they are actually major forces.
Yeah,
Nobody can touch them in this country.
It's true. That's how it's arranged, bro. That's what I'm saying. It's been arranged for thousands of years. They've been setting it up. Now you're seeing
Manifestation.
Fruits.
different. It's manifesting differently, but it's been always there.
Okay.
And then at the end of the last paragraph, Prabhupada, he quotes that verse, whatever state you are in, you remember when you die, you will attain that. Then he explains, one overly addicted to life at home naturally thinks of his beloved wife at the end of life. Consequently, in the next life, he gets the body of a woman, and he also acquires the results of his pious or impious activities. So therefore we should become very much attached to Krishna, then we don't think of anything else. Right? Otherwise it's going to be a cycle. This life you're attached to your wife, then the wife will be attached to her husband, and she dies, she'll think of the husband. So it's always
Like that cycle.
so we shouldn't continue the cycle. That's 3. Kalakanya bhubuje
Kalakanya bhubuje
Puranjana Purambala
Puranjana Purambala
Yaya Vibhuta Purusha
Yaya Vibhuta Purusha
Sadhyo Nishadatamya
Sadhyo Nishadatamya.
Gradually Kalakanya, with the help of dangerous soldiers, attacked all the inhabitants of Puranjana city and thus rendered them useless for all purposes. What's the name of the city? Pancha. So Prabhupada says at the fag end of life, when the invalidity of old age attacks a man, his body becomes useless for all purposes. So you have seen that. As you grow old, you've seen old people, they cannot go walk, cannot do anything, and then their children, daughters or the sons will carry them, bathroom, bathe them, like, then it becomes such a burden for everybody. They think like that. But if we are trained under the Vedic culture, then it becomes a service. You see how different it is. It's like 188 degrees, right? Totally. In Vedic culture, it's a service. Oh, grandmother is sick, and then we all go take bath and help them feel good. But in this culture, it's like, no, this is a chore. So that they have all the nursing homes and all things, right? So they had this man. He didn't want to take care of his. He didn't want to take care of his parents, so he put them in the old age home. So the home came with high recommendation and all. So then he put his mother there and he left. So come once a week and see. But every week he comes and sees his mother is looking more and more worse. So then it appears he put those camera or something in the room. So then it so happened that when he next time he came, he saw the guy who takes them to lunch and so on.